Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Friday, July 24th, 2026. What a blessing to be present with all of you for all of these years. 6 years, a bunch of months, a bunch of days, and every morning the chance to say good morning. Joyce, Michelle, Rachel, Susie, Scott, Jonathan, and Lydia, good to see all of you. Hi, Linda. Hi, Yoram. Nice to see you, too. Let's say good morning to each other, especially because yesterday was Tisha B'Av and we weren't able to. So let's make sure that we don't miss the chance to say good morning. Tony, good to see you. Valerie, you are in Tel Aviv. Yes, we'll talk about that. So glad to be able to anchor ourselves with you in Israel right now. Katie, welcome. Dave and Marilyn, Karen, Boker, Tov, Arlene, and Patricia, good to see all of you. Let's take a breath. No guitar today. Let's sing a bracha. Get ready to learn some Torah as we get ready for Shabbat. Ya lai 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 lai, didi ya lai lai lai, didi ya lai 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 lai, ay la lai lai, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu La'asok b'divrei Torah La'asok b'divrei Torah Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba la'asok b'divrei Torah. Tadiyai lai 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 lai, tadiyai lai lai lai, tadiyai lai 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 lai, ay la lai lai. So good morning, friends. It's good to see all of you. There's so much to talk about today. Let's start with a little bit of Torah context, build our way into the current moment, and then get ready for Shabbat. Torah context. Because yesterday was Tisha B'Av, today is Friday, we haven't looked at this week's Torah portion at all, focusing instead on preparing for Tisha B'Av. That leaves us with one day to talk about an incredibly important Torah portion. It's Parshat Va'et-Chanan. And within this one Torah portion is the Shema, the first line in the first paragraph. Within this Torah portion is also the second time of the telling of Mount Sinai, the Torah being given. We encounter so much of the depth of what it is to be part of Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, that it is hard to figure out where to focus. So I want to make a few different notations about this week's Parsha and then acknowledge today. Thank you, Penny. Today is broadcast 1598. Shabbat Shalom to you, my friend. The Torah portion is called Va'et-Chanan, which means, and I begged. And that sets the tone. Moses, in this Torah portion, begs for God to change God's mind about Moses being able to enter the promised land. I begged, and it wasn't to be. And Moshe places the blame on us. He's clearly angry about not being able to see his life's work fulfilled. And anyone who has served as a leader really of any community, certainly in the Jewish community, knows that it is hard to be a Jewish leader. People often do not want to be led and contest anyone who is standing in the way of what they think should be done next. But Moses acknowledges it with bitterness and then moves forward into the instructions that we need to move forward as a people. And I use that to say one very important framing thing, which is there is so much complexity within our people. We also have to make sure that we tend to the work ahead as a unified people, as if that's how we see ourselves from within. We're very complicated. Certainly within the state of Israel right now, the internal dynamics of the Jewish people and the state at large, which includes 20% of Israel's citizens, not Jewish, the contesting of what leadership looks like and what the authentic heart of the Jewish state must look like, that is demonstrative that we continue to be the complicated people that Moshe led. And there should be comfort in that. Look at how we have always been. Look at who we are. My beloved friend, Maharat Daphne Lazar Price, is here in Israel and with us in our community. So Daphne is in Israel on Instagram. Valerie is in Israel on Facebook. And so I know that we are anchored by real leaders who understand the complexity of our people and show up consistently and with passion. We move forward in this week's Parsha into the Shema, which we think we know, but every time you look at it with an open heart, with curiosity, sometimes with deep emotionality, this becomes very complicated for us because it's not simple. Shema Yisrael, listen, listen. We might have all of this disagreement. We always have. Tisha B'Av is about when it goes horribly wrong. And yet we are one people. One people. Not only are we one people, we follow one God. The ancient Midrash about this line, which is not the Torah, but it's a layer of interpretation, is the children of Jacob, whose name is Yisrael, saying, Shema Yisrael, listen Yisrael, listen Abba, your God and our God, we worship the same God. There is a unity that you can sense beyond the divisiveness of our ongoing life as Am Yisrael. So how important that is for us as a framing moment. Post Tisha B'Av, when the tradition says the day after Tisha B'Av, today, the stones were still burning. We know that pain is not episodic, and the challenges and obstacles ahead endure. That means we must too, which is why we move from Moshe's frustration into Moshe's pragmatic leadership, using language that reminds us that we must be one people, especially in the eyes of the world. And then we receive Torah, which tells us we are about something grand. We are called to do good work in the world. And so, when yesterday, on Tisha B'Av, in the aftermath of the mayor of New York obsessively attacking the state of Israel, its prime minister, and by extension, the Jewish community, he is called to serve that foments violence on the streets against visible Jews, by which I mean people who wear physical indications that they are Jewish, and an attacker who screamed Allahu Akbar, stabbed a Jewish man and an Asian man on Tisha B'Av. Both attacks are attacks on images of God. The consistency of what happened makes it very clear that it was an attack on someone who was Jewish. And there is no question that the mayor of New York is inciting violence against the Jewish community. And when attacks happen on the Jewish community, they do not only happen on the Jewish community. Jews have always been the colloquial canary in the coal mine. And it's not a thing we wish to be. But when you see anti-Semitism growing, you know that hatred of all kinds are also growing. And so we are called in this moment between Tisha B'Av and Shabbat V'Etchanan. We call it Shabbat Nachamu, Shabbat of comfort. If we truly wish to see comfort and even be comforted, as the prophet Isaiah says in this week's Haftarah, Kiflaim, you've paid double what you need to do. And as Jews, we know that that's more than true. But we are called absolutely in this moment to acknowledge the world in which we live, the challenges and the dangers that are thrown at us physically and by the mayor of New York verbally. We cannot duck it. We cannot be nuanced about it. The attacks on the Jewish community require a robust response. And as John just wrote, this is what chosenness is. We bear the weight. This is our obligation. Chosenness has never meant better. Chosenness means this is who we are. Moshe is our teacher. He shows us the way. He reminds us no matter how frustrated we ever get, no matter how it feels like the promise is too far away, as it was for him, we must do the practical thing and stand together as a community, regardless of the passionate differences within our community. And as we move forward, we stand at the base of Mount Sinai, as intense as that is, and we call out to God in response to the heavenly thunderous voice for comfort. Our language must be fierce, and we know that ferocity, this kind of reactivity, which we must have, the responsiveness of our community, especially, I am so proud that UJA stands with clarity in response to this hateful rhetoric and its clear consequence, which is violence against Jews and others in New York. That is a strange kind of comfort, but it only comes from knowing who we are. And so this week again on Shabbat, we say, Shema Yisrael. Listen, each of us, all of us, to the oneness of what we are called to be. That does not mean political conformity. It never has. It doesn't mean that the Prime Minister of Israel is beyond criticism and accountability. Ask any Israeli right now. You know that the vast majority of Israel believes in accountability and is confused about what comes next because it matters so much. We understand our own inner complexity in a way the outside world rarely ever knows how to acknowledge. But here we are, friends, bearing the weight of our own identity, but also wearing the legacy of our own identity as beautiful outer manifestation of our values. I've seen strange language online recently about who we are and aren't, the kind of hatred that is unleashed by people like the mayor of New York. Paints a picture in which there is no nobility to the totality of a Jewish identity. But look at what Moshe was fighting for the entire time. Moshe was fighting for the right to enter the promised land. You want to talk about indigeneity and ancient connectivity to our land, from which Zionism emerges as a core political expression? It is modern, certainly as a political movement, since the late 1800s, but it follows antecedents. The way that Zionism is an indigenous expression, even with its revolutionary spirit, should be clear, as the mayor accidentally acknowledged on Tisha B'Av by wishing the Jews a peaceful Tisha B'Av, because clearly he didn't know what he was saying. But by acknowledging Tisha B'Av for the Jewish community, he was acknowledging Jewish indigeneity in the land whose destruction we mourn and whose reality we celebrate. We have work to do moving forward. We really do, friends. And I would bless us to remember the totality of what this week represents. Tisha B'Av, so hard. Tisha B'Av this year, so hard. This Shabbat, Shabbat Nachamu, Shabbat of comfort, we are called in a profound way to dig deep and to achieve comfort for ourselves and for others. We are one people. Have we ever been a unified people? No. But do we reach for it? Is that the language we use to describe ourselves? Is that the way the Midrash helps us understand the words Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad? No, we are a people who reach for each other, who must reach for each other. And the work that we have within our beloved homeland to perfect and dig deeper, and to be more worthy of this mantle and legacy, to hold ourselves accountable for our excesses, our mistakes, and sometimes our crimes, is actually the fulfillment of what the first Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, always hoped for, to be normal, which he defined by a Jewish criminal being called before a Jewish court in a Jewish city to account for their Jewish crimes. The chance and the right to do wrong, and to learn from it, and to grow from it. That is what it is to be human. What people does not deserve the right to make mistakes, trying to wield power ethically in the face of a world where that never happens? And to be so singled out by the mayor of the community with the largest Jewish population outside of the state of Israel? Well, let's remember what that sentence also means. We are a community with the largest number of Jews outside the state of Israel, and it's our turn to take that very seriously, and not to wield war, and not to meet hate with hate, but to hold leadership accountable. Because the dangerous, violent language that the mayor is consistently using is a violation of our humanity. We are full people with full human rights, and it is our obligation to use that to our advantage for everyone's sake. Defending ourselves, never for a Jew, means only defending ourselves. We are a people who stands as good neighbors with all people. UJA's commitment the entire time through these last hard 3 years to feed the hungry, to stand with the vulnerable, to do our work as Jews in the world, shining a light for the sake of the entire world. Not so that they will all be us, but so that we can all be. That's what it is to receive Torah at the mountain this Shabbat, and that's what it will be to be comforted. This is who we are. Beautiful, worthy of comfort. Worthy of comfort, my friends. So, hand on heart, praying for the healing of the 2 men who were stabbed by a terrorist on the streets of New York yesterday. Praying for a change in the heart of the mayor, or a change in who the mayor is. Because all people deserve to be seen as fully human. All people, including us. May we be so blessed to find our voice, our courage, our beauty, and to make sure we communicate that as effectively as we respond to what we must respond to. Today we stand at the mountain. How lucky we are. We receive that inheritance. We're still working on the promised land. We receive that inheritance too. Take a breath. Let's sing. So to Valerie and to Daphne, who are in Medinat Israel right now, thank you for anchoring us. We're sending our hearts to you as we sing. Kol hod balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. Shabbat Shalom. See you on Monday, my friends.